When the Admiral stepped into the quiet Navy Rehabilitation Center that morning, he didn't expect the man mopping the floor to make him stop in his tracks. The Admiral was a decorated SEAL. His name carried weight in every corridor. But the janitor before him, a quiet, lean man with tired eyes and a faint limp, didn't flinch when the officers passed. He simply kept working, focused, calm, and silent. "Morning, sir," the janitor said softly, nodding respectfully. The Admiral looked him over, smirking. "At ease, soldier," he joked, clearly not recognizing him. "What's your call sign, janitor?" he said, chuckling as his aides snickered behind him. The man didn't look up. He dipped the mop into the bucket, squeezed it out, and whispered two words, words that made the Admiral's face go pale. "Lone Eagle." The mop froze midair. The Admiral blinked twice, certain he had misheard. His laughter died instantly. The hallway fell silent. "Repeat that," he said quietly, his tone shifting from mockery to disbelief. The janitor looked up for the first time. His eyes were sharp, piercing, like someone who had seen too much and said too little. "You asked for my call sign, sir," he said calmly. "It's Lone Eagle." Every officer standing nearby straightened. One of them, a young lieutenant, stammered, "Sir, that's the guy from Operation Silent Harbor. The one who—" "I know who he is," the Admiral interrupted, his voice hushed. "Operation Silent Harbor. The mission no one talked about. The mission where an entire SEAL team was ambushed deep inside hostile territory, and only one man came out alive, dragging two wounded men for miles under fire. The man who refused evacuation until everyone else was safe. The man who disappeared from service records soon after. Lone Eagle." The Admiral took a step forward. You're him," he said softly. "We thought you were dead." The janitor smiled faintly. "I was, sir. At least the part that mattered." There was no bitterness in his tone, only exhaustion. The Admiral gestured for his aides to leave them alone. When the hallway emptied, he asked quietly, "What happened to you, son?" The janitor took a deep breath, leaning on his mop handle. "When I came back, my wife didn't. Cancer took her while I was overseas. My boy was just 4. The Navy offered me a medal and a promotion. I asked for a job that would let me be home every night. They gave me this." He looked down at the mop, then at the Admiral. "It's not glamorous, sir, but it lets me see my son smile before he sleeps." The Admiral's eyes softened. "You saved men who are still serving today. And now you're cleaning floors." The janitor nodded. "It's honest work. Not all battles are fought with guns, sir. Some are fought with grief, and some, with love." That night, the Admiral couldn't sleep. He pulled up the classified files on Lone Eagle, photos, mission logs, after-action reports. The man had been a legend, a sniper, a rescuer, and a ghost. His record read like something out of a movie, except this one ended in silence. The next morning, the Admiral waited in the hallway before sunrise. When the janitor arrived with his mop, the Admiral was already standing with a folded uniform in his hands. "Son," he said quietly, "the Navy owes you more than this." But Lone Eagle just smiled. "Sir, I'm right where I need to be. My son's got asthma. I take him to therapy after school. He wants to be a pilot one day. That's my mission now." The Admiral stood there, unsure what to say. Then he handed the man a small box. Inside was a medal, one that had never been awarded. "They forgot to give you this," he said. "But I didn't." The janitor stared at it for a long time before shaking his head. "Keep it, sir. Give it to someone who needs to remember what we fight for. I already know." Weeks later, during a Navy event, the Admiral spoke in front of hundreds of officers and cadets. He paused mid-speech and gestured toward the back of the hall, where a janitor stood quietly with his mop. "You all know me as Admiral Hensley," he said. "But today, I want to remind you of something greater than rank or ribbons. That man back there, he's Lone Eagle. The reason I'm alive. The reason half this room exists. He traded glory for fatherhood, command for compassion. Remember this. True heroes don't need to be seen, they just keep showing up." The hall erupted in applause. The janitor, embarrassed, looked down, trying to slip away quietly. But his son, now 10 years old, was standing beside the stage, clapping with tears in his eyes. Later that evening, as father and son walked home under the fading sunset, the boy asked, "Dad, were you really a hero?" Lone Eagle smiled, squeezing his son's hand. "I used to be," he said softly. Now I just try to be one for you. And somewhere behind them, the Admiral watched from a distance, realizing that sometimes the greatest warriors aren't the ones who rise through ranks, but the ones who rise every morning, fight their quiet battles, and never stop loving.